What's good, you guys? So today I'm going to be answering two important questions that people often ask. The first one being, is typology nature or nurture? Or maybe both. Our Enneagram type, our socionics type. The next question is, can our personality type change? Right? So let's get into the video. When we're talking about personality type, we can even look at Enneagram because that's really what people think about when it comes to their childhood. If you asked most people who have some interest in Enneagram, most of them are more casual about it, they will tell you that yes, obviously that the childhood is what defines the type. To the point where they believe that you have this number, this type, because of your childhood. And they will believe like, oh, I relate to this childhood wound, so I must be that type. I had Enneagram 2 childhood, Enneagram 3 childhood. But when you really get deeper into it, what does that even mean to have Enneagram 8 childhood or Enneagram 2 childhood? What does that mean? You have to understand first what Enneagram is. Is Enneagram all about simple motivations? No. With Enneagram, you're dealing with something so much more complex and in-depth. Something that defines in many ways your personality, your inner workings, your defense mechanisms, your neurotic reactions, even your cognition. It's crazy, but it does. It affects how you process emotions, even impacts your own identity, how you handle your own identity, how you handle the world at large. All of that is dictated by the Enneagram. Just to dumb it down to motivation you're missing the point. It's not. It's everything in between. So we know that the Enneagram childhoods are a big part of the standalone books, right? Subtype books. You read about that section, about how it was, how their childhood was. And of course it makes sense. A person with a specific innate temperament will have a certain specific reaction to abuse, to mistreatment. They will perceive certain things differently. One type of person might look at a situation and be like, I don't see it as bad, while the other type might view it very depriving and restrictive. And that is all dependent on already pre-existing personality, your innate temperament. And that goes beyond you being 20 and over having trauma and shit. That goes way beyond. When I made the Enneagram 8 childhood video, some people came to me saying, I relate to this. I relate to those specific feelings of humiliation or this happening to me, and I had the same childhood. You know they didn't. Because if they did, they wouldn't be the type that they're claiming to be, right? Because they did not end up being Enneagram 8. So if you have the same childhood, and I mean the same, not in a way that you also felt mistreated and you felt bad and this happened. That's not what we're talking about. Every human felt that, every kid felt that. It is the specific nuances that happen, the thought processes that then transform and morph your worldview. That is what matters. But this is not as simple as to say, oh, you are this way because you had that childhood. No. Because you can be an SLE, I can put you Enneagram 2 childhood, whatever the fuck you want to even call it. You will never be Enneagram 2. So how is this childhood only? If it's childhood, how the fuck you cannot be Enneagram 2? How? That's all it is, childhood. Yet you cannot be any type you want, despite you having those childhoods. It doesn't matter. Because if you have a kid growing up to be an SLE, he already has a certain type of personality. He has an innate kind of temperament that you already see when he's very young. He goes through certain experiences and he kind of responds to them a very specific way, right? Because of his innate personality, his innate kind of cognition, his innate temperament, the most basic level. He reacts to that environment a specific way, which then obviously creates this worldview, right? So there, for sure, we can say that, okay, their worldview is caused because of that childhood, but that's misleading. The worldview actually is caused because this person has a very specific innate temperament that then responds a very specific way, which then morphs a very specific way. This is not me telling you that childhood doesn't matter. Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's bullshit. No, because think about what you have an innate personality, but this innate personality lives in this world. and it interacts with it, and it gets traumatized. It perceives certain things a certain way. But because of what happens to us, we tend to perceive trauma a certain way. We tend to perceive stuff that happens a certain way. This causes certain defense mechanisms that can be caused because of our reactions. So it's not as simple as let me discredit childhood, but it's understanding how important the actual innate temperament really is in creating a certain personality type. That's all. And you don't even need all of this very in-depth knowledge. Listen, if Enneagram is simply caused by childhood, there would be no correlations. With Jungian, I'm not sure. I'm not too well versed about that shit. You can make an argument. You're kind of fucking inborn with it. Okay? Same with socionics. Same with cognition. There are some arguments to be made that you are more or less kind of given a certain blueprint of development. And as you grow, you fill this blueprint out. That's kind of how this is supposed to go. Now, with Enneagram, people would say, oh, it's more nurture. So I would say with socionics, it's purely nature. While with Enneagram, it's a combination. You start with nature, and the fact that you have that specific temperament, you get buffed by life, and you develop those defense mechanisms, those worldviews, which it all comes together, and you have an Enneagram type. I genuinely believe, from a point of psychology, that for the most part, you're kind of cooked. That the majority of your personality, you're basically almost given a blueprint. Saying, hey, this is your personality, and this is how it will develop. But along the way, you're gonna get buffed. You're gonna get touched by your uncle, shit's gonna happen to you, and you're kind of gonna be developing into this personality, but now you're growing tumors in your psychology. Take that metaphorically, obviously, not literally. Now you're kind of having those up CPTSDs, you have those up responses, which you didn't have as a kid. Now it's like you did grow up into this kind of person that you were kind of always meant to be, but now your worldview and other stuff has been filtered through the reality, has been filtered through your experiences, right? Nature influences nurture. So it's all dictated by fucking nature. That's your type change. The fucking, obviously people would be like, no, it doesn't, let's move on. Well, yeah, no, it doesn't. What you believe, your type changing, I think it's your own flaws in your own self-perception. Now, it's easy to look back when we were this old or that old, like, oh, I don't believe I was the same person. Yeah, how do you even judge that? It's because you didn't like people as much, or you were more quiet, so you're not the same personality type. Cognition is much more complex when it comes to stuff like socionics and such than that. Don't be expecting to see a full picture of a grown personality at the age of 6. That's not how this shit works. Your personality, for example, with Enneagram, with enough trauma, if you're a 4, you will simply be even more cope the up 4. If you're an 8 who's more traumatized, that's it. That's all it is. You're not gonna be a different type. It's the groundwork that dictates the rest. That's all. Some traumas might look a certain way, so it might misguide you, again, if you're looking at the Enneagram from a very superficial lens. Someone being more aggressive and more violent automatically gets type 8. Yes, you're a dumb fuck, and that's not how this shit works. Guys, what do you think, right? What's your opinion? Comment down below in the comment section. Do you think typology is nature, or is this nurture, or it's both? Give me your more complex thoughts. It's a very good topic, to be honest. It's a very good topic for debate, so let's get geeked the out in the comment section. I'm out, I'm Charles, and I'm bouncing.